As many of you know, I have not owned my own home since 2018. Truth be told, I never owned it. It was the bank's. And I was in a never-ending 25-year mortgage. I had the illusion of home ownership. I had all the stress financially and all the strain that comes with maintaining a 60-year-old home. Having to buy tools, having to stress for having to worry about repairs, having to maintain the large trees and all that stuff that went along with the property. Since leaving that part of my life behind, I rented an apartment. I've lived through a poor landlord. I've lived through an unsafe building. So I moved. Then I lived through an apartment fire and several problem tenants. The last time I signed my lease, my rent went up $90. This increase has caused a lot of ripple effects, like not being able to pay bills fully, or having to choose between groceries, or keeping a multi-billion-dollar company happy. There has not been any improvements around the complex this year, and if my rent goes up, then it will no longer make sense to stay here. When the rent reaches a certain point, your budget, your very fixed budget, can only stretch so far before it shatters. And when it shatters, what happens then? This is a good complex to live in. I feel safe. It's reasonably clean and maintained. The maintenance team responds in a timely manner for all repairs and issues. I don't know if I should downgrade my apartment back to the unsafe, dirty, moldy apartment, or possibility move to one that is even sketchier, cheaper, and in a rougher area. The kind of apartment that people get jumped when they take out their garbage. The kind of apartment that vehicles get broke into because it's in that kind of neighborhood. Or if I should sell everything and live the nomadic lifestyle, the life that I was planning on living before I got involved with women all those years ago. Living the nomadic lifestyle with my current setup would be the hardest due to not being prepared for it, not having had the money to have done what I've needed to be prepared to do. The first year would be the hardest due to budget issues, but I could save a portion of the money that I would have been paying for rent. And then the next year I could buy a heater or an extreme cold winter sleeping bag and possibility of a few things to make my survival more comfortable. I have no desire to buy a house again, or even a mobile home, getting into some kind of mortgage again. I no longer have the ability to work like I once did, to be able to keep up with the costs, to be able to pay for the over-the-top costs of everything that comes along with owning a property. With utility costs rising, I don't think owning your own place would be very sustainable. With utility costs rising and the results of everything changing in price, it has caused everything to increase. Food, gasoline for the vehicle, repairs for the vehicle, and all that stuff that comes along with life. I have entertained the thought of a raw, undeveloped lot in an almost non-existent town. Something that you could park an RV on, or some type of box to live in. All I would have to pay is taxes and mow the grass and slowly build a fence and things like that. In my past, I have been homeless. In my past, I've had next to nothing. I've always been able to rebuild. I have always been able to work to make things happen. However, things are different now. I have been trying to work things out in my head. I have been trying to keep hanging on. I have started to sell things again. Started to get rid of things that I no longer need. I have started to thin out the remnants of my old life. Things that will only be in the way when the time comes that I have to move. We all have a limit to our finances. We all have a breaking point. We all try to live our lives the best we can, enjoying the life we have been given, and hopefully leave behind a positive influence. And sometimes, no matter how much a person struggles, how much a person tries to live the life they want to live, it always seems to never work out the way they think it should. Being happy with what you have in front of you and not wanting more, not overreaching or trying to overachieve. Living on a very fixed income has been quite the change for me. It's took a few years to get used to the new routine, the new life, how much longer it takes to save up to do a project or to have a road trip. Realizing that steak that you bought will probably be the last one for a few months until you can afford to buy another one. We do the best we can with what we have. We do the best we can with what we are given. We try to make the best out of life. However, eventually the end comes for us all. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.